Hey guys, welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check out the video. And guys, I want to show you all a clip yesterday that was on the Bass Tour Anglers podcast. Matt Steffen was a guest, and they were actually talking about whether or not I should be inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. And I want to talk about this a little bit and talk a little bit about the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame and just this whole topic today. But I definitely want to share this clip with you in today's video and do some commentary on it here. And also, guys, for get started, thank you very much for everybody that's been supporting Intuitive Angling here, by all you guys that have been subscribing to the channel and taking the extra step to become a Patreon or channel member. Big appreciation, big thank you for me and my family. Everybody that's been using all the links I put in my video descriptions. You guys are the reason that this channel is on YouTube, so thank you very much for that. Okay, guys, I didn't know anything about this. I saw that a subscriber of mine forwarded me this video, and Matt and they were talking about on the Bass Tour Anglers podcast, whether or not I should be in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. So I want to play this clip real quick, and also, guys, I will link the full video of the Bass Tour Anglers podcast on this. I'll link it in the description of my video if you guys want to check it out and give the Bass Tour Anglers podcast a follow there. That'd be much appreciated. So let's take a second and check this out, and I'll be right back.
So one of my New Year's resolutions is, and I know you're a teammate of Randy Blaukat, there with Bridgeford.
Yep.
But and I know when you say Randy Blaukat, that automatically you talk about some polarizing figure, but the things that I see happening in the tournament world and the things that I see him talking about, it occurs to me that he is quite an influencer. And so my resolution is that I want to start talking about this in 2026. I really think Randy is a Bass Fishing Hall of Fame candidate. And he had a tremendous tournament career, but I also think that in his position as an influencer, I don't think we have a forward-facing sonar controversy if Randy is not out there leading the charge. I just don't know where else it would come from. I wonder what your thoughts were on this.
I mean, we could go in a lot of different directions with this too. Randy, I've known Randy for a long time now. He was brought onto the Bridgeford team the year before I was brought on in 2015. So this is year 11 or 12. As an angler, Randy is definitely Hall of Fame worthy, in my opinion.
I think so.
I think his credentials, just from tournament performance and what he's done in the sports, is very much credible in terms of getting to that point. I don't fully understand what the Hall of Fame process is as to how to.
That's a thing. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly what they look at. Now, what I would say, I think there's potentially an argument to say he's actually hindered himself more by doing the social media stuff. I think he obviously is one of the most influential content creators out there. I don't know, though, if the divisiveness, the separation that he's caused within the sport is something the Hall of Fame would be happy with. And, I think that kind of just depends on where the people who do the selection fall, whether if they're on the side where forward facing sonar is not a great thing for the sport, I think he could get in for sure. But if they're looking at it saying he's caused a lot of negativity within the sport and divisiveness, that maybe that would hurt him. So I don't really know, I personally would look at it more as to how he's been in the sport since he was 20 years old, what he's done. I think he definitely has got a huge following, a legion of fans that is very supportive. I've told this to Randy before. I actually am a little disappointed with him from the standpoint of how strongly he is against, not necessarily against forward-facing sonar, because I think everyone is allowed to have very strong opinions. I'm just a little disappointed because he was such a fixture in the sport, and he's got the experience, and he's very good at communication. In looking back, I think he could have approached the forward-facing sonar subject from a standpoint of let's just talk facts. Let's see what we can do here. He can still have the opinion is I don't think it's a good thing, but I think he did it in a little bit more of a manner that was aggressive and turned off a lot of people versus, hey, this is Uncle Randy talking. He's got a ton of experience. Let's hear him out, hear what he has to say. And, when you bring that topic up 3 years ago, I don't know that anyone ever expected it to blow up into what it is to this day. So, at that point, I don't know that he ever thought it would be that big of a deal. But in hindsight, for me to look back, it was like, man, I feel like he could have been the true voice of reason with the experience that he has, where he could have still gotten to the point where forward facing sonar is not a great thing in his opinion, but done it in a way that didn't create the same divisiveness. So, you know, I I'm a big fan of Randy's in terms of he's, a very good individual. I think he's done a lot for the sport. Um, we'll see what happens with the forward facing sonar though. I mean, this is a subject that's going to be around for a while, and I don't think he's going to
Well,
stop harping on it.
okay, so this is and this is what I think is both good and bad, but I think it's good about what Randy does because Randy, nobody makes you think. Like I probably wouldn't have a podcast if Randy didn't have one because I feel like I take so many of my topics from what I hear him talking about. And I mean, that's just that's influential, whether you like
Yeah.
it or don't like it. And I think from the standpoint that the whoever's making the decisions on who gets into the Hall of Fame, who isn't, I think we gotta look at a bigger picture here. There is he's a huge influence on
Yep.
not just the forward facing sonar stuff, but I mean he's got impact into rules and things like that, and other things that we see happening in the sport. Anyway, it's something I'm talking about this year, and it's not, I wanted to see what you had thoughts because you've got a really good insight
Yeah,
here.
I mean if you're talking candidates for the Hall of Fame, he's got a strong background in history and the credentials that would definitely bring him up for conversation.
Yeah,
Whether he gets in or not, I guess again, I don't even know the process for getting into the Hall of Fame, but I would say there would be a good discussion to be had to determine whether or not he should get in.
yeah. Again, I think a person has to ask themselves, is it because I don't like what is it because I don't like what he's saying, or is it because I
Yeah.
don't think he deserves to be there? I think there's no doubt he deserves to be there. And if you don't like what he's saying, I mean that's just the way it
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
okay, all right. Well, thanks for taking that time. I mean, I didn't want it to be an awkward situation, but I wanted to get that out there, and I appreciate you being candid with us on that. Camus Boats, from the mind of Earl Bentz. Excellence, tradition, and service.
Okay, guys, I didn't even know that this was up for discussion. It sort of surprised me, and and I appreciate that. I mean, I definitely appreciate just the thought of it. So I sort of want to give you guys my thought about the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame in general, as far as the nomination process and everything that goes along with it. First of all, guys, I live here in Springfield, Missouri, where the Bass Pro Shop national headquarters is at, and the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame is in the national headquarters here over at the Wonders of Wildlife Museum in Springfield. And guys, if you've never been through it, it's like if you're a tournament bass angler, it's just like the best thing you'll ever experience in your life. When I first saw it, I'm like, I've been a fan of the sport forever, and I've been following the sport since I was in grade school. I've been reading Bassmaster magazine since I was in 1973. And when I walked down there in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, it was, I can't tell you the feeling that it gives me to go into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, to be around all the greats in the sport. And they've done it up so well. It's so classy, it's so professional. They've got, all the Hall of Fame nominees in there, the plaques on them. They've got old photographs everywhere. They've got memorabilia from all the anglers, jerseys, rods and reels. It's such a pleasure to go in there. If you ever in Springfield, Missouri, just do that. So like anybody else, it's like any tournament bass angler, it's like, or any other sport, baseball or whatever. I mean, everybody's dream, if you're a competitive angler, everybody wants to be in the Hall of Fame. And I was fortunate enough to get inducted into the Joplin Sports Hall of Fame back in 2014, which was an incredible honor. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to be inducted in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. It's like a sort of an affirmation of a lifelong, lifelong dedication to the sport. So given that, let's talk a little bit about this Hall of Fame, because I got a few opinions on this in relationship to this clip that you saw on the Bass Tour Anglers podcast, whether or not I should be in it. First of all, I don't know what the criteria is. I know that in order to get inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, you got to be nominated by members of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, I guess the public. And a couple different things that sort of come to mind to me. It's like I'm very in tune with the industry, and I don't really understand this nomination process, because there's a lot of people that have been inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame that I've never heard of. I'm in the industry and I pay close attention to it, and there's a lot of people in there that I've never heard of them before. And so I've always wondered how those people get nominated by people that nobody really knows about, and then they get selected with that. And if you look through the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame and you're a casual observer of the sport, the first thing that I've noticed, it's like there are people in there that absolutely deserve to be in there without a doubt, at all. And then there's a lot of other people in there that it's like, I'm not sure why they're in there. It's like, why are they in there? So I don't really know the process that the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame goes through in order to select these. One thing that I do know in anything in life, a lot of it is who you know, and it's a lot of it is the relationships you have. And apparently once the public nominates people, to be considered for nomination in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame board votes on that. And there's quite a few people on the board there. And I don't know what type of conversations they have internally when they have a nomination process, or how they determine that. It's like, it's obviously not just off of performance, because if you look at, there's a lot of people, tournament anglers in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, that do not have the same tournament credentials as a lot of people that are not in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. There's quite a few of those in there. So it's got to be something a little bit beyond that. Maybe how long you've been in the sport, contributions to the sport in other areas. So it's sort of a gray area in those terms. And I don't know, it's like for me, in my situation here, and there's a couple people on the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame board that it's not that I don't get along with them. It's like, how some people, when you go through life, some people you just naturally gravitate to, and you naturally, have a good, interaction, good friendships with them. There's a couple of people on that board that, for whatever reason, it's not that we've ever argued or got into it with anything, but we sort of just maybe rub each other the wrong way, I guess, on viewpoints on life and everything. So from that standpoint, there's probably a lot of people that on that board that would never want to see me on the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. I don't know about everybody else, but I don't know the process. I don't know what they go through. I don't know how much of it is weighs in on personality or people's personal opinions on, whether they'd be a good nominee or something. I just don't know. There hasn't been like a lot of transparency with that. But I don't know. I just want to do the video real quick, guys. I just really felt honored, that they would even talk about that on the podcast. I really do appreciate that. And I've never really thought about it much, because, one of the things in the sport of bass fishing is like, as you evolve through the sport, you go through different periods of your careers as a tournament angler. I mean, when you start out, you're young and you're full of the vigor of life, and, you're up and coming and you're trying to make your way in the world. And then you have the period of your career normally that's in, your late 20s to early 40s, where you're at the top of your game performance-wise. Everything's firing on all 8 cylinders, and, you got your creativity and your imagination is still somewhat pure, but you've got a lot of experience to back it up. You've got passion and desire. Physically, you're in good shape. Your eyesight's good, your coordination's good. So that period of the late 20s to early 40s is when people really make their mark in the sport. And then the natural byproduct is once people start getting into their 40s, especially their mid to late 40s in the sport, they all start going downhill in performance-wise. It's happened to everybody. It's happened to Kevin Van Dam, Denny Brower, Klun. There's nobody's immune to it. It's like all of the superstars in the sport today, like Jacob Wheeler, probably the best angler in the sport today. Once he gets in his 40s and 50s, he'll start falling by the wayside, not making many checks. That's just the way life is. That's just the nature and the cycle of life that we go through. And once you get into that as an angler, as you get older, a tournament angler, you start reflecting on, your time in the sport and sort of like the mark you want to leave in it. And one of the things about me, it's like Matt was bringing up a point in the interview there that he did with me about how I become this super divisive figure, and that, he thinks that, yeah, I deserve a spot, but maybe my divisiveness would put me out. One of the things I want to clarify here, guys, about this divisiveness that I've seemingly got labeled by, the opinions that I give are not meant to be divisive. I am passionate about the sport, and I am a fierce protector of the heritage and the tradition of bass fishing. And the reason that I'm so adamant about my stance specifically on technology and fishing is I see it as a direct threat to the sustainability of the sport in many, many ways. The tradition and the heritage, the unknown, the mystery and magic, the aesthetics of it. I see it creating a huge income disparity and how it's turning the sport into an elitist activity. I see the conservation aspect of it, where we have more bear trauma issues for delayed mortality. There's a lot of different reasons. And if you normalize that, and if you come across as somebody that normalizes that type of technology without being adamant about it and being passionate about it, then that normalization sort of it causes people to become apathetic. So one of the reasons that I've been so, quote, divisive and so outspoken of it is I'm trying to make a point here. I'm not trying to do something for my own personal gain, because, guys, I can assure you my stance on technology it may have got me a lot of national and international recognition, but I have taken hits for it in a lot of ways a lot of people don't even realize. I mean, it comes with a cost, and I'll say that. I'll just, without going into detail, having that type of passionate stance comes with a cost, especially in this particular industry that we're in. But nevertheless, that's a cost I'm willing to pay because I love this sport. I mean, I love this sport as much as anybody that's in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. And like I said, I'm a fierce protector of it. So I just wanted to clarify that. But anyway, guys, just a quick video. I just wanted to go over that a little bit. And again, I appreciate everybody's support. We're in a really strange time in the bass fishing industry right now. And one thing I think we all have to remember is that we all are here, and you're watching this video, and everybody that's interested in what we're talking about here, you're here because you love to bass fish. That's the brotherhood that we all share. And it's like all families don't get along. They argue internally. It's the same with us as a community of bass anglers. But we all are grounded and bonded by our love of the sport. And so I think that's one of the things we always have to remember moving forward. So anyway, I hope you guys are well. Talk later.